My name is Alexander Blackwood, and I've always prided myself on being a successful man. As a high-powered attorney at a prestigious law firm, I've built a reputation for being ruthless in the courtroom and unrelenting in my pursuit of victory. My life was a well-oiled machine, every aspect meticulously planned and executed to perfection. But recently something has changed. I wake up every morning feeling exhausted, my body drained of energy, and my mind foggy. At first, I attributed it to the stress of my demanding career, the long hours, and the high-stakes cases. But as the days turned into weeks, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was fundamentally wrong. It all started a month ago, after I won a particularly high-profile case. The firm threw a lavish celebration at an exclusive club downtown. The room was filled with the city's elite, the air thick with the scent of expensive perfume and the clinking of champagne glasses. That's when I met her. Lilith. She was breathtakingly beautiful, with porcelain skin, raven black hair, and eyes that seemed to pierce right through me. There was an aura of mystery surrounding her, an otherworldly quality that drew me in like a moth to a flame. We danced, our bodies moving in perfect sync to the pulsing beat of the music. She leaned in close, her lips brushing against my ear as she whispered promises of pleasure and forbidden delights. The rest of the night is a blur. I remember leaving the club with Lilith, the cool night air a sharp contrast to the heat of her body pressed against mine. We ended up at her place, a luxurious penthouse overlooking the city skyline. What happened next is a mystery, lost in a haze of passion and darkness. Since that fateful night, my life has taken a disturbing turn. I'm plagued by vivid, grotesque nightmares, visions of blood and violence that feel all too real. In these dreams, I'm a different person, a predator stalking the streets, hunting for prey. I can feel the thrill of the chase, the rush of adrenaline as I close in on my victim. The taste of their blood is intoxicating, a crimson elixir that satisfies a hunger I never knew I had. But they're just dreams, right? They have to be. I'm Alexander Blackwood, a respected attorney, not some kind of monster. Yet the signs are becoming impossible to ignore. The way my skin seems to blister and burn in the sunlight, forcing me to seek refuge in the shadows. The way my reflection in the mirror seems to flicker and fade, as if it's not quite sure of my existence. And then there's the hunger, the insatiable craving for something I can't quite name, a thirst that no amount of water or wine can quench. I've started to notice changes in my behavior as well. I'm more aggressive, more prone to fits of anger and irritation. My colleagues at the firm have started to whisper behind my back, their eyes filled with a mixture of fear and concern. I snap at them, my words sharp and biting, a far cry from the charming, charismatic lawyer I once was. The breaking point came last night. I found myself in a seedy alleyway on the outskirts of town, with no memory of how I got there. The air was thick with the stench of garbage and stale alcohol. A young woman stumbled past me, her blonde hair disheveled, her eyes glazed over with intoxication. Something inside me snapped, a primal urge that I couldn't control. Before I knew what was happening, I had her pinned against the wall, my face buried in the crook of her neck. The scent of her blood was overwhelming, a sweet, metallic aroma that made my mouth water. I could feel her pulse beneath my lips, the steady thrum of her heartbeat a siren song calling me to feast. I sank my teeth into her flesh, a guttural moan escaping my lips as the warm, coppery liquid filled my mouth. It was euphoric, a pleasure beyond anything I had ever experienced. I drank deeply, savoring every drop, feeling the strength and vitality flowing into my body. When I finally stepped back, the horror of what I had done washed over me like a tidal wave. The woman's lifeless body slumped to the ground, her skin pale and her eyes staring blankly into the void. I stumbled backward, my hands shaking, my mind reeling with the realization of the monster I had become. I fled the scene, my expensive Italian leather shoes splashing through puddles of filth and grime. I ran until my lungs burned and my muscles ached, desperate to put as much distance as possible between myself and the gruesome evidence of my sin. Back in the safety of my penthouse apartment, I paced the floor, my mind racing with questions and fears. What was happening to me? How could I have done such a thing? Was I losing my mind? Desperate for answers, I turned to the internet, my fingers flying over the keyboard as I searched for any scrap of information that could explain my condition. As I scrolled through countless pages of myths, legends, and folklore, a sinking realization began to dawn on me. The aversion to sunlight, the lack of reflection, the insatiable thirst for blood, all the signs pointed to one terrifying conclusion. I was a vampire. But how? When did this happen? Was it that night with Lilith, the mysterious woman who had captivated me so completely? Had she done something to me, cursed me with this unholy affliction? I needed to find her, to confront her, and demand the truth. But as I stepped out into the night, the hunger began to take hold once again. The city was alive with the scent of blood, a tantalizing bouquet that called to the beast within me. I wandered the streets, my senses heightened, my body thrumming with a dark, primal energy. The rational part of my mind, the part that had once been a successful, respected attorney, grew quiet, replaced by an animalistic urge to hunt, to feed, to kill. I knew then that I was no longer the man I once was. Alexander Blackwood was dead, and in his place a creature of the night had risen. The hunger, the thirst, the crimson desire, they were my masters now, and I, their willing slave. As I stalked the shadows, my eyes scanning the crowds for my next victim, a part of me recoiled in horror at what I had become. But another part, the part that reveled in the power and the pleasure of the kill, embraced this new existence with a twisted sense of glee. I am a vampire, a monster cursed to walk the earth for eternity, feeding on the blood of the innocent to sustain my unholy existence. The man I once was is fading away, his memories and his morals crumbling to dust in the face of this all-consuming hunger. And so I prowl the night, a predator in search of prey, forever bound to this crimson curse. May God have mercy on my soul, and on the souls of those unfortunate enough to cross my path. For I am the monster in the darkness, the nightmare made flesh, and the hunger, the thirst, the crimson desire, they will never be satisfied.